Hoy estamos con Kiran Garimella, vicepresidente de BPM Solutions and Software AG. Kiran, I'd like to remark the highlights of your keynote this afternoon at this Gartner Enterprise Technology Summit, and why Software AG must be the choice for the customers.
Okay, absolutely. So thank you for inviting me here. I'd love to talk about this topic very much. And there are, I have seen both from my personal experience perspective and also from consulting with so many different companies all over the planet, how important it is to not only have the right technology, but also to have the right methodology and the right principles, best practices behind that to make it successful. In the past, IT had a lot of really, really good technologies, whether they called it object technology or CORBA or DCE or Java, EJB, doesn't matter what it is, all very, very fancy technologies. And many of them did not get the success they deserved, not because the technologies were bad, but because there was no business context to those technologies. And that was a big issue, right? And most IT practitioners, they get very excited about how cool their technology is, right? How sexy it is. But they are not able to relate the technology to the business benefits and make the connection, right? And that's the reason why the adoption is very slow for some of these technologies. And you don't see the benefits for this. So one of the things that we, Software AG, we realized that it isn't just enough to have the best technology platform and suite. We should also help our customers with the right methodologies and the right best practices and share our experience on how these things are implemented and what are some lessons to be learned from other implementations we have seen at other places. So we have found, for example, I'll give you one example, we have found that it is not enough to just get a business process management software and say, okay, you just put it in there and everything will be fine. We'll all solve problems. No. The problem has been that many people in the company, when they implement software like that, they do not think about with a process mindset. They do not understand what a process actually means. All processes, right, they go from one functional department to another functional department to another, and they end up with the customer. So they go across multiple functional departments. But when people do projects, they will only address the problem in one functional area, in one department, in one P&L. That's all they will address, right? The problem has been that there's no customer impact to doing that. At the end of the day, the customer still faces the same problems. They still get their orders in a very late duration, and the cycle time is pretty large, or the variance is pretty large, and it doesn't really help them. So you have to break that particular cycle. And the only way to break that cycle is to take one of two approaches. Approach number one is to completely forget about technology and have a lot of management training about process-centric thinking and everything. That is helpful to some extent. The other approach is to forget all of that stuff and do only technology and just do that. That also, it's not very successful, right? So what we say is you have to do both. You have to take a little area in technology, use technology to solve one particular problem and demonstrate the value of process-centric thinking. Then management is going to say, okay, I will now try to use this for another initiative and another initiative. And slowly there'll be more momentum built up based on that, right? And that is how, at the end of the day, after 2 years, maybe 3 years, the entire company will become process-centric. We should be able to see that, right? So the key message for me, for this conference, that I want to say is that technology is, to be excellent in technology is a minimum requirement. It is a minimum necessary condition, but it is not sufficient. You have to have the methodology and the best practices in place. Now, when we in Software AG, when we designed our suite, we didn't simply say, Oh, we want to do SOA also. We just buy some SOA. We want to do BPM. We'll just buy some BPM. We just say, oh, we do all these things. We don't do that. We sit down and we think about how problems are solved in businesses, how decision making happens, why process intelligence is important. And we'll say, okay, now how do you build those capabilities in a well integrated stack? We're an integration company. If our stack is not integrated, it'll be really funny. Yeah? So we want to make sure our stack is integrated. And we want to go to the CIO or the business people and say, look, you don't have to worry about integrating. You don't have to buy one piece from here, one piece from there, and then spend more money and time trying to integrate them. We do it because we understand why this works like this. Okay?
Technology is just a piece of the business successful puzzle.
Yes. Yes.